Toons finally got the support they needed to make them competitive. Players have been able to top tournaments with this deck. We managed to reach the highest level of the KC Cup Stage 1 with it, getting into Stage 2. It's a very good deck that actually is really budget and affordable as well, because most of it either comes in just one box, or is a free-to-play card that's available at the trader, or by leveling up Pegasus. And we can't really use an extra deck with this deck because of our skill, so it's another reason why we can very easily afford it. Talking about our skill, because it is a very important aspect of the deck, Toon Invitation is a new skill that just came out for the deck that allows you to normal summon or set your Toon monsters without tributing. Now, again, you're restricted to pretty much only using Toon monsters, as well as monsters that have 0 attack, or that your opponent is the owner of, so there's a few caveats to that restriction, but really you're mostly just going to be using Toon monsters. There is a second effect to this skill as well, that twice per duel, once per turn, you can return a card from your hand to the deck, and add a Toon world from outside your deck to your hand. Now, in all honesty, I only used that part of the skill a couple times, because usually I was able to get Toon Kingdom because we have so many ways to search it out, and Toon Kingdom is just a much better version of Toon World. Not only do you not have to pay the 1,000 life points to activate it, but when you activate this, you do have to banish the top 3 cards of your deck face down, but it does count as Toon World while it's face up. Your opponent can't target Toons while this is face up on the field with any kind of card effect, and that effect alone will just win you so many games. I played numerous games against Destiny Hero and other back row decks that were just sitting on 2 or 3 back row cards that they just could not activate, because Toon Kingdom says they can't target any of my stuff with them. So, very powerful card just because of that. But also, if a Toon monster would be destroyed by either battle or card effect, you can banish the top card of your deck face down to prevent that monster from being destroyed. So, if your opponent can't destroy your monster in any kind of way, and they can't target it, it can make it very difficult for them to get rid of your board, especially if they don't have spell trap removal for the Toon Kingdom. And as I mentioned before, we have so many ways to search this out. We have the one of Terraforming from the special set that came out, 3 Toon bookmark from the most recent box that came out, and as well as a Toon table of contents, so multiple ways to search it out. We can also search it out with our monster Toon Dark Magician. Now, this is the key monster that makes this deck go, right? We can normal summon it without tributing because of our skill, and then once per turn, you can discard a card to either special summon another Toon from your deck, ignoring its summon requirements, or adding a Toon spell or trap from your deck to hand. So, very important for being able to search out Toon Kingdom if we don't have another way to get to it, but we can also search out our Toon Briefcase, which is a very powerful trap card for this deck. It's searchable. Basically, it's just shuffling your opponent's monsters back into the... it shuffles an opponent's monster when they summon it to the field back into their deck. So, very powerful to be able to search this out from our deck with the Toon Dark Magician. But also, a lot of times when we're summoning monsters, we're going to be bringing out the Toon Blackluster Soldier. Now, this card can attack the turn that it's summoned, unlike a lot of the other Toon monsters, but also once per turn, you can target a card on the field and banish it. And that's not just monsters, but you can also target back row as well, too. So, this is going to be a key card for winning your mirror matches as well. We also have one copy of the Toon Dark Magician Girl in here. This is one I added later on. I was originally running the Toon Red Eyes Dark Magician, but I decided to go ahead and just stick with the Toon Dark Magician Girl for now. I really like the OTK ability that this card gives you, right? Because this card can attack the turn that it's summoned, and not only that, because it can attack directly with 2,000 life points, or for 2,000 damage, I should say. If you have Toon Rollback with this card, you can very easily turn 1, like summon this out, and just get some quick steals, steal some quick easy wins away from your opponent. Especially if you got Toon Kingdom to protect it, and they can't target it at all. Sometimes you're just going to summon this, they won't have a response, you can just attack directly twice with the Toon Rollback and get some easy wins. We're also running one copy of the Toon Harpy Lady. This just gives you another way to remove back row. If you have Toon rolled up on the board, you can special summon it, destroy a spell trap your opponent controls. Super simple effect. You don't need to run the Toon Harpy Lady or the Toon Dark Magician Girl, and frankly, I've seen some people cutting the Toon Blackluster Soldier down to just 1 copy. I still like keeping it 2 copies because sometimes I've banished it off the top of Toon Kingdom, and that's really frustrating if you banish your one and only copy off the Toon Kingdom, so I decided to go ahead and up this to 2. I mentioned the Terraforming the Search Out Toon Kingdom. We also have one copy of Comic Hand in here. This is basically just like a snatch steal for the deck as long as you have Toon World up. You can steal your opponent's monster, and it counts as a Toon monster, so your opponent can't target it with effects if you have Toon Kingdom on the board as well, so it gives a little bit of protection for it. We have the 3 Toon bookmark. Again, just add a Toon World or card that mentions it from your deck to hand, and that's most of your Toons here. But it also has a graveyard effect that can protect your Toon World, that if it would be destroyed, you can banish this from your graveyard as well. So sometimes I'll use something like a Toon table to search for this, just so I can ditch it and be able to get one in the graveyard before I go for my Toon briefcase or whatever it is I'm going for the rest of my turn there. We also have the 1-2 table of contents, the Toon rollback, and then the Toon briefcase. Again, we don't have any extra deck because we can't really summon anything that isn't a Toon monster or doesn't have 0 attack points. I didn't decide to include 3 Book of Moon in here to round out the rest of my deck, and this is pretty much a very similar list to the one that the players who have been topping tournaments have been using. If you don't have triple Book of Moon, you can find some other replacements for it. Again, this is a great budget option, and if you don't have the books, I'm sure you can find some other back row card that will suit your needs just fine. So let's go ahead and jump into the replays. Okay, so all of these matches were from the final 2 ranks of the Stage 1 of Duels, the KC Cup. All were at DL19 or DL20 as we try to get to the highest Duels level max to be able to get in the Stage 2, which I didn't really compete in at all, but I still wanted to at least get there with this deck, which we managed to do. So our opponent uses his Toon Bookmark to search out Toon Kingdom. Got a bit of a mirror match going here, which can be a little bit awkward if both players have a end up having a a Toon Kingdom on the board, which is probably going to be the situation here. So another cool thing you can do that I didn't mention earlier is you can use your skill to search for Toon World and then discard it with Toon Dark Magician if you don't have any other Toon card in hands. So if you don't have a play at all and using your skill is the only way to get Toon World in hand, it's just one more way to have a discardable card for your Toon Dark Magician. So just be note you can do that. So we're going to start off by summoning or activating our Toon Kingdom. I'm going to activate the Toon Dark Magician, go ahead and summon the Blackluster Soldier. He's going to use the briefcase to summon our BLS back into the deck, so we can't banish his Toon Kingdom here, but that's okay because he can't really out our monster at all. We can't out his, so we'll just set the Book of Moon and pass and wait to see what happens. Toon Harpy Lady can pop our back row, he can activate the Toon rollback, but again, he can't attack directly as long as we have a Toon on the board. Don't forget about Toon World and Toon Kingdom's other effect, or I should say it's an effect of all the Toon monsters really, but if you got Toon World, or in this case Toon Kingdom up, your Toons can attack directly as long as your opponent doesn't have a Toon on the field, but obviously in a mirror match, we both have Toons on the field, so our Dark Magicians are just going to keep hitting into each other and getting protected by the Toon Kingdom. Now, we're actually at risk of being decked out here because we only have 8 cards left in our deck. He's got 13, so we do need to find a way to try to win this game here. So we're going to use the Toon rollback to search for our Toon Harpy Lady. We're just going to go ahead and summon it to the board. It's not going to be able to pop the Toon Kingdom because he has the bookmark engraved, but it does put another monster on the board. And we're going to go ahead and use the Dark Magician to summon out our BLS. BLS can banish his Toon Kingdom, and now he doesn't have the protection. And without the protection, there's really nothing more we can do at this point. We get to win in the mirror match. Alright, next up we have a matchup against Evil Heroes. Anytime you see the Supreme King Jaden as your opponent, you gotta assume that it's going to be the Evil Hero deck. Starting off, he has a Dark Calling with his skill. It's gonna get him a big, beefy Evil Hero monster onto the field with 3,500 attack points, but it doesn't have any inherent protection, right? During your opponent's battle phase, all monsters they control go to attack mode and must attack. That doesn't really protect it at all, and he only has 1 back row to protect himself here, so we're in a pretty good spot. Here's that Toon Red Eyes Toon Red Eyes I mentioned earlier. I did play a few games with it, wasn't a big fan, ended up cutting it, but we ended up discarding here for the Toon Dark Magician, trying to summon out the BLS. He does have the Bottomless, which doesn't target, so it does get around Toon Kingdom, but it destroys, so Toon Kingdom can protect our monsters by just banishing a card off the top of our deck. So we'll do that, we'll protect our monster, use Toon Bookmark to search out the Common Can. Common Can, basically a snatch steal for the deck. We're going to snatch steal his monster and just swing in for over 4,000 and get the easy win versus the Evil Hero. So this was a matchup against BLS. Blackluster Soldier, a pretty good deck. They're really relying on Envoy at the beginning, but even then, like, if they don't have an answer for Toon Kingdom, it can be a little bit difficult for them. They do have big attack point monsters that can swing over our stuff, but again, as long as we have Toon Kingdom to protect, we're in a pretty good situation. So we'll go ahead and set the 1 back row. We have Toon Kingdom, DM, and the Toon Briefcase, which is going to get popped with MST. He's going to go ahead and summon his BLS monsters to the field, but they only have, again, I have the Toon Kingdom to protect them from destruction. He can't target anything either on my board, so Envoy at the beginning can't even banish my monster in this situation. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. He's going to go for a couple Ritual Summons here, dump a couple of really big 3,000 attack point monsters onto the board, and get a really cool summon animation in the process. This is a cool summon animation. We'll have to try out this deck. Maybe I'll do a Blackluster Soldier deck profile here in the next few weeks. We'll see what happens with the ban list that comes out after this deck. So he's going to swing into our monster a couple times here, deal some damage. But again, Toon Kingdom can protect our Dark Magician. He can't destroy this. All we can do is just deal some damage by attacking over it. And if we put this in the defense mode, it's going to put an end to that. So we are down to 9 cards in our deck, so decking out is a concern again. But we did top deck into a Toon card. So again, with our skill, it wouldn't have mattered much. But Dark Magician, discard, summon the BLS, which can then banish. We'll steal his monster with Common Can, and then we can just swing and attack directly. And again, our monsters cannot be targeted, and if all of his back row targets, then it's useless in the face of Toon Kingdom, so we get the easy win. Next up, we have a matchup against Blue Eyes. Every video, I always like to put up a game of me playing against Blue Eyes and smashing them. We do play against them a lot just because it is like the fan favorite deck, right? So turn 1, we have a Toon Dark Magician, Briefcase, Book of Moon, and then, then the Toon Kingdom to protect on the field. So pretty good opening here. Our opponent has the Cards of Consonance for the White Zone of Ancients he just searched from his deck. He also has a second one to discard for Melody of the Awakening Dragon, so he's going to get 2 Blue Eye summons here in the end phase. That's a little bit concerning. He has 1 back row to set here, as well as the Blue Eyes that he can reveal in his hand so that he can summon the Blue Eyes alternate White Dragon. Fortunately, we have the Toon Briefcase that's going to deal with that and prevent any kind of Synchro summon. So he'll just proceed to the end phase where he will get those 2 Blue Eyes summons from the deck. First one is just the normal Blue Eyes, and then second one he's going to summon the Dragon Spirit of White. Not sure why he didn't summon that one first and get rid of the back row, but he does it here. We'll chain and flip down his monster. Pass to our turn, we got a Toon card in hand, so we'll discard for the Dark Magician, search for Toon Bookmark, and search for Comic Hands. Now we're going to do something fun here. We're going to use Comic Hand to steal his monster. Just a little side note here, we did banish our 1 BOS, and I think that's the only one I had in the deck during this game, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, we did have the second one, so that was another option. Oh no, we didn't have the second one because it was engrave. So 1 BOS engrave, 1 banished off the Toon Kingdom, so summoning 1 from the deck was not an option here. So Comic Hand is able to steal his monster and give us a big beefy 3-point monster we can attack with. The Blue Eyes can swing over his monster. Well, I guess the Dark Magician can swing over his monster, and then the Blue Eyes can attack directly because it counts as a Toon monster with Toon Kingdom and Comic Hand. Next up, we have a matchup against Destiny Heroes. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the deck profile, sometimes you win games against this deck just because all of their trap cards and a lot of their effects require them to target something on your side of the field, target your monsters, and if they can't target your monsters because of Toon Kingdom, puts them in a tough spot. So we have our opening setup here. We got Kingdom on the board, 2 back row, including Book of Moon and Briefcase, Dark Magician on field with the Toon Bookmark in the graveyard to protect the Toon Kingdom. Banish 3 off the top of our deck and pass to our opponent. Now he has a Destiny Hero monster in hand, so he's got his skill that he can activate here. It's going to give him a free Polymerization and a free Malicious in the graveyard. All the material he needs to go for a fusion summon. We're going to immediately get rid of this thing, though. We don't want him to be able to try to destroy any of our cards with it, so we're just going to Toon Briefcase, shuffle his fusion monster back into his deck. He is going to bring out another Malicious here, so we'll go ahead and summon a BLS from our deck. Now, we could have just attacked directly with both monsters and probably just won the game. I did decide to go ahead and banish his Malicious with our BLS in case he had something, but as I swing through for 2,500, I really don't think that he does, and if he does, again, he can't target our monsters with any of his trap cards, so that alone will probably just win us the game. So he's going to go with the Destiny draw here, draw 2, discard. Rhoda, going for the Liquid Soldier. I mean, as long as we have Book of Moon to shut down his play, he can't do anything. He doesn't even have a play this turn anyways, so we'll come back to his turn. He can't target our monsters with his cards because of Toon Kingdom, so we'll just swing on through and take the easy win against Destiny Heroes, and a lot of our games against them just went exactly like that. Alright, now this was the match that got us into Stage 2 of the KC Cup, that got us to the Duelist level, max level for Stage 1, and it was a mirror match. So our opponent went first. Has the Toon Dark Magician, so he can definitely get the Toon Kingdom to his hand one way or another. Uses the Bookmark to search out the Toon Kingdom. But he didn't search out Toon or Briefcase. I wasn't sure if he was going to have the Briefcase set here or not, because it did set the 1 back row, but we'll proceed with our turn. Turn Bookmark, search out the Dark Magician, and he has the Book of Moon. Now, if we had played Toon Kingdom first or searched it out somehow, we could prevent that, but we really didn't have any way to do that. So, Book of Moon's going to flip down our monster. We're just going to go ahead and distribute off our monster and go ahead and summon the BLS straight from our deck. Not often that we get to do that, but we get to do it here. We'll also use our skill to get Toon World to the field, pay the 1,000. That way we have his skill life. Remember, BLS's effect needs Toon World on the field to be able to banish something. So play the Toon World, banish his Toon Kingdom, and then set a Briefcase back to our back row. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot here. He spellbooks. He uses Spellbook of Knowledge to tribute off his Dark Magician, draw 2 cards, and doesn't get the out. So pass back to our turn. Turn Toon Tables. Searches out a Bookmark. Need to make sure we have bookmarks in grave to protect. So we'll go ahead and summon our Toon Dark Magician. I don't think I had any other way to deal with 4k damage that turn, especially with him having a hand trap in hand. So, gotta fight through the Kiteroids, but that's okay, because we have the Briefcase to deal with his monster on the follow-up turn. We can go ahead and search for another one to deal with his follow-up here. We know he has the hand trap, or the hand trap engraved, so not gonna be able to fight through it, especially when he has a second one in hand. 2 Kiteroids stalling out, but Stalling isn't winning the game, so we'll swing again. No more hand traps to deal with. See if he has any kind of response. He's going to search the Toon Table. Table can get out his Ancient Gear Golem. He's just going to set a monster, and that's not going to stop us. Remember, if we have Toon World on the board, we can just swing directly and win the game if he doesn't have a Toon, and he doesn't, so we get the easy win. Toons take us to the highest level of Stage 1 of the KC Cup. And yeah, awesome deck. Great budget deck to be able to play with. So if you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of the day.